2. So, doing employability, and we looked at 3 different icebreaking activities today. You can see behind me, we've got bingo, got a little horsey, and we did a questionnaire, although we don't know what that's about until I think it was the 6th week according to Bruce. So, what did we do first? So first we had a look at different portfolios and ways to present our assignment. One way that I thought of was doing a video blog. But yeah, that should have been in the first day, but you know, who says that the first day wasn't the second day, huh? So I'm going to be doing a video blog of my diary, and I'm going to include references as well on a separate playlist on my YouTube channel. And as I say, the first task we did was a bingo icebreaker, which was this one here. Now you'll see that I'll actually put some of the resources that we used up on this wall here, although the heater's on, so the paper's flapping. So the first activity that we were given by Bruce was a bingo. We were handed it out as an A4 piece of paper and told not to look at it. We were then asked to flip it over and then follow the activity out. So what we had to do is we had to go around to everyone, and we had to basically ask them if they'd been, for example, to America, or find someone that didn't like spiders. So we went around the room and we spoke with each other to try and get a bingo. My first impression of it was I wasn't sure what to do, so I had a look at the sheet. It took me a very long time to actually go and do anything. I think I overanalyzed it a little bit too much, but you know, it was the same for everyone else. No one else kind of got off straight away. And eventually the mood changed, and then everybody went around the room and asked the questions, and I eventually got around to it. Let's see how many I managed to get. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 12 or 9. 12, I think it is, yeah. So I didn't do very well. I think the activity lasted for about 8 minutes, I think it was, and then we had the first bingo. And it was quite an interesting icebreaker, actually. To adapt it to my own learners, I could do it as a kind of pictorial based, maybe not even an icebreaker, but an activity. If I was to teach learners at a different level, at a different time, then I could use it in the exact same way. I could adapt it for IT, which is my specialism. As I say, pictorial ways of doing it, so instead of just finding the words, I have to find the pictures maybe, and try and have a bingo from that. So yeah, it was quite an interesting icebreaker. So after the bingo activity, we moved on to this rather interesting one. I don't know if it was an icebreaker, but it was an interesting task anyway. It was basically, we were split into, well, there were 6 different groups of pairs, and each group was given a picture of an odd job. So for example, our one was a horse masseur, which is quite an interesting thing in itself, and we were basically told not to tell anyone else and we were to try and describe that job without using the words, trying not to give too much away. I was with Kelly, and we worked together to create a kind of what skills, qualities and personal qualities there were to a horse masseur, what we thought was that. So we were hoping that people would be able to guess from those qualities that it was a horse masseur. I was tasked with almost acting out the qualities and skills of a horse masseur. It was quite a fun and interesting thing. Bruce told us to make sure that it was as stimulating and as interesting as possible. So me and Kelly came up with, well, Kelly reading the qualities out and then me kind of acting it out. So I was pretending to be a horse monsieur, kind of massaging a horse, and yeah, quite interesting. You can actually probably see a few pictures. What I'll do is I'll click my finger and there'll be a picture there you can see, and that's me doing one of my actions. And I'll click back and you're back to me. And yeah, it was very interesting. So we all did that, and everybody acted out their same odd jobs, and there were some odd ones. There was Raven Master up in London. That was acted out very well. That was actually in the form of job description, which was quite fun. What else was there? There was actually one that I guessed. There was an escort, and that was done by Ben and another lady, Marion, I think it was. And it was me that shouted out escort, and then everyone looked around. It was quite embarrassing, but it was quite an interesting icebreaker. So yeah, I don't know how I would use that with my own learners. I mean, acting out a job maybe in IT, if I was to do a college teaching placement. With my current learners, it wouldn't be appropriate really, but you know, acting it out, coming up with their own list of what qualities maybe an IT technician can have, a web designer might have, a software engineer. I mean, having a look at it, and then having a look at different skill sets and bits, trying to act it out. But as I say, it wouldn't be appropriate for my current learners. So what did we do after that? Yes. After that, we were given a questionnaire. Now, as I said at the beginning, Bruce wasn't going to give us the answers until I think it was 6 weeks along the line. So I'm not sure how that's going to be an icebreaker, so it'll be quite an interesting one to look at eventually, once we know the results. We were basically given a questionnaire of, I think it was more than 12 questions, and we had to mark, it was A to E, and mark for our highest answer that we thought was true, and mark between 7 and 10, and the answer that we thought was false for ourselves, which was between 1 and 3. Oh no, sorry, it was 0 and 3, I think, yeah. And there was a hidden bit where you had to make sure that at least one of the answers that was left had a 5, and that the other ones had another number next to them. So one had to have 5, a few of them I put 4 and 6, so it had to be in that kind of area. And it was actually quite a difficult task. It did actually take the full 20 minutes to do it. The questions were quite difficult. Well, the questions weren't difficult, it was just the way that you had to place the numbers. So yeah, we won't know anything about that until, as I say, 6, maybe 5 weeks away. So next week we're bringing in balloons. In our groups of 3, we're going to have 50 balloons in our group. I don't know what we're doing. I did notice a picture on one of the portfolios that we looked at today of someone sitting on balloons, so I don't know if we're going to be making a sofa out of balloons or what, and it sounds like Bruce isn't going to be there either. He says he might not be there, so don't know. It would be quite an interesting one. Loose clothes, I'd imagine it's because we are going to be sitting on balloons, so what out to us to have got a balloon pump and balloons and watch this space. Day 3 will be coming soon.